Hey guys, it's MJ, Melinda Jordan, affectionately called MJ the Closer. I am super excited today to have a conversation with one of my coolest lenders ever, Adam, with CrossCountry. Let me just tell you how I got to CrossCountry. This is absolutely a funny story. I am a huge Costco, Sam's Club girl, and Costco sells everything, as you know. And one of Costco's partners is CrossCountry. Well, I stumbled upon Adam because he helped save 2 deals for me, one last year and one the prior year, and we've been partners ever since. And I just had to bring him to you guys because if you want an awesome lender partner, you cannot get better than Adam. Hey, Adam.
Hi, yes, Adam Kriticos with the Kriticos Group at CrossCountry Mortgage. I'm grateful to be here, and yes, I'm a huge Costco fan as well. So that's an added bonus.
I know. But there's so many other great things about CrossCountry. One, you are the #1 retail lender in the country.
Yep.
Right. Mm-hmm. You've been in the business since preschool. And
pretty much.
A pretty massive team, right?
I'm 44. I've been in the business almost half my life, and I have 3 amazing team members. With if you combine all of our experience, we're at 55, 60 years of mortgage experience between me and my teammates. So we have over thousands of deals, 2,000, 3,000 loans closed, and just have a ton of experience. So I'm grateful to be here and talk about some things we have going on in the country and then here locally.
Absolutely. So we've been wanting to have this conversation with you guys. So go along with us. So everybody wants to know what's happening nationally in the market in your industry. Just give us the real.
Wow. Okay. So things we've seen the lowest home sales in history, or not history, but over the last 30 years. Yeah. So the combination of the lack of inventory, the combination of high interest rates, and then home buyers that have bought during the pandemic or have refinanced during the pandemic, they're at 3% or below interest rates. So there is somewhat of that lockdown effect. So what we're seeing this year is, the start to this year is still low inventory with higher rates, which when you look back in history, interest rates are not really that high. Yeah, they're about average. But we've been spoiled the last 3-4 years. And so we have to have a memory of what happened in the past. So focusing, the big question this year is going to be about affordability and how we can help homeowners get into the home that they want with the budget that they need. So what I would call being house rich, not house poor.
And I absolutely love that you said that, right? We're like children, regardless of what age we are. Especially here as Americans, we know affordability is not, historically has been an issue for a certain population of people, but now it's an issue just about for everyone for what you just described. Yep. So my question is, going from national to our backyard, Chicago, we know the Midwest is meat and potatoes. What's happening in Chicago?
In Chicago, well, first, it's beautiful out today. Yes. So Chicago, we're actually starting. Right now, as of 2025, we've seen a big jump in people right away getting into the market. Yeah. So I don't know if you're seeing that. We're seeing a lot more active buyers saying, okay, it's been 2023, 2024, I still haven't bought. So we have this backlog of buyers, and then we have also the new buyers coming in. So we're seeing a lot more people coming in and saying, okay, now is a good time to buy. I need inventory.
Absolutely. Yeah. And what I would say to that is right now in the country, you got 2 of the largest populations in the world needing housing, baby boomers as well as millennials. And so that's putting pressure on the market as well. But in our industry, we always tell people, marry the home, shop the rate. Get into the home you want to, and then as rates adjust over time, then you adjust with it. But do not place your dreams on hold, just change your strategy. So with that, I deal with a lot of high earners, which oftentimes come with high debt. What programs could CrossCountry have in place to support those who have a ton of student loan debt or they're carrying other debt that are largely tied to their occupations?
Yes, so specifically for student loan debt, one of the things that we're seeing a lot of is that a lot of people are on income-based repayment. Yeah. And so Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, they came up with a couple different programs that could help. So number one, you could do if you own a home right now and you want to pay off some debt, you can do a rate and term refinance to pay off that debt instead of it being a cash out. But what is even more important when it comes to buying, if you're on an income-based repayment plan and we can show that payment, you know, you may have $100,000 in student loan debt, but if that payment is $20 a month because that's what you have to pay and we can show that, then that's the payment that we can use.
Perfect.
There's other ways. So if we don't see that payment, or if you're not on an income-based repayment plan, we can use 0.5% of the total balance of the student loan debt.
Yep.
And then also we can use, or in some instances, 1%. So it depends on the type of loan program.
Okay.
That is one way that we treat student loan debt. Another thing that IDA specifically for Illinois Department of Housing, they came up with a program called Smart Buy,
Yes.
where you can get up to $40,000 to pay off your student loan debt, okay, and buy a home. So imagine that if you have $30,000 or $40,000 in student loan debt, then the state will give you money to pay that off, and then also give you another up to $5,000 to help with a down payment for the home.
And that's wonderful. So here are three things you guys have heard. One, the market is shifting, but people are coming back into the market. So do not sit on the sidelines. Figure out what your plan of action is. But that comes with two, identifying the right partner and team to be able to do that, because not all things are created equal. And third, it's the new year. It's 2025. What better way to kick off your dreams than to start looking to buy your next home, whether it's your first home or your next home.
All right. Thanks for asking me some questions. I got some really good questions for you.
Boy. Okay, Adam.
So, what are you seeing right now for buyers and sellers specifically that that they need to focus on to be successful in 2025 to either buy or sell a home?
Man, you're deep out the gate. Okay. No, it's a wonderful question. I will actually tell them the same, because I get this question from them and it shows up very differently. One is, be very clear about what your end game is. What do you ultimately want to accomplish? The second is, by understanding that, it helps you lay out a game plan, and a part of a game plan is having a great team that's going to help employ and deploy the steps it takes to get you there.
Okay.
So I always tell my clients, you own the team, but I'm your quarterback. I'm help running the plays. I'm guiding the people on the field, but I can only do that when I know what your end game is. The third is, consider the other side of the transaction.
Okay.
And I think we exist in a culture now where it's about, what do I want out of a deal? But no one wins unless both win. And so if you're a buyer, consider what the seller needs to move on. If you're a seller, consider your experience when you were buying. And if you focus on those three things, ultimately everybody gets what they need to get to the next level. Okay.
That's what I like to hear. Teamwork makes the dream work, and being prepared, right?
Absolutely.
That's more than ever. And then, talking about being prepared, the big question we talked about earlier was affordability. Mm-hmm. And so when you're meeting with a buyer for the first time, what are some of the things that you ask them when it comes to how they feel about their financials, right? And talking to a lender about their financials, because that's usually the biggest step the first thing you have to do, unless you're buying something cash, you need to get pre-approved, and that's not always something that a lot of buyers like to do.
Yeah, it is a tough topic because it's personal. When you go to buy a home, you feel as though you're being interrogated. But I try and lighten the situation with a joke and say, you would not go on WebMD and diagnose yourself with cancer without having spoken to a doctor and a specialist. You wouldn't go to a pharmacy and say, hey, I think I've got ovarian cancer. Can you prescribe this for me? That's how real estate is. That's how this process is. They are not here to intimidate you. They're here to be in partnership with you and help you understand what your buying power is. Your power is your leverage in the market. So that's my conversation with buyers. How much leverage do you have in the market?
And that brings up a really good point, because when I'm meeting with buyers, right, preparation is key. And when it comes to the leverage, because not only are you thinking about what you can qualify for a mortgage, what your budget is, but you also have to start thinking about how are you going to set yourself apart by some of the other buyers that are out there.
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely.
I mean, I've had clients already lose out on multiple offers, highest and best, over list price. So what do we do to set up our buyers to get them set up for success?
No, absolutely, because we all think that the offer is built around the price, but there's so many other terms in the offer that the seller may need. That's why it's important, as I said earlier, for the buyers to consider the seller and the seller to consider the buyer. All you know is that seller needs to sell quickly and move, so it could be price, but they may be willing to give a little on price because you can close it quicker. So it's really under asking a question, what is it that you need for this to work for you? But it also allows the buyer to understand, what neighborhoods do I have the most leverage in?
Sure.
And so, I may want to live in Lincoln Park, but I can't get in Lincoln Park, but I can get in Lincoln Park Square. You know what I mean? Like, it helps you understand, like, this is my buying power. This is the type of loans I qualify for. Where are those neighborhoods where I will have the most leverage in? And let me start there.
Yeah, and you have so much, the resources that you have and the amount of data that you provide your clients, it makes it easier, because if you're looking in a neighborhood that has 10 homes currently listed for sale, that's not a lot, right? So then you got to figure out, okay, how long is it going to take for you to get in a contract, and then plan accordingly. So I think communication and having that, I call triangle of trust, the lender, realtor, the buyer, all on the same page, is going to help you win in the long run.
Nope, absolutely. And setting boundaries and expectations.
Okay, yep.
That's it.
Yeah. All right, Melinda, we're having fun here. I do have off the cuff questions, so get ready. Okay. This is not scripted at all. What's been the most memorable or rewarding experience as a realtor?
Man, okay.
I'm sure you have a lot.
I will name one.
Okay.
So, one time earlier in my career in real estate, I was showing a property to a client. I was representing a buyer. We had gone into a 2-flat. It was her mother and herself and me. And the agent did not put clear notes about how to tour this property. We had come out the back door of a property, and the doors closed behind you, and it locked. Okay. And the agent never told us you can't close the door behind you. So we closed the door to go into the second unit. We close the door, we go to the second unit, and we come back down to go back to that unit. And now we're locked in the stairway of this multi-unit, and we can't get between the units. Okay. The only way out was for me to climb out a window onto a rooftop, to shimmy down the side onto the patio, and then I get into the backyard. There's a tall fence, and the fence is locked. Okay. And the guy that lives next door sees me shimmying down this roof onto the ground, and he's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm not breaking in. I'm a realtor. I'm really just trying to get out of this property." The agent won't answer. Wow. And he walks over and he opens the gate from that side and lets me out. And they have been clients for life. So I have crawled out of a property, shimmied down a roof onto a patio. Yeah, but that's the benefit of me growing up in Mississippi on a farm. I'm a country girl, I'm gonna get out of this property one way or another. So
it's you have to be very plausible. You have to be able to adapt to your environment. Now, one of them is probably not being a gymnast
But here's the lesson in that. From that day forward, I never wear stilettos or heels for showing. Sense. I always wear gym shoes or keep boots in the car.
Oh, well, thanks. That's, I'm sure, one of many cool stories, but thank you for sharing that with us. Absolutely. Awesome.
That was cool.
All right, cool.
Okay, so I'm turning this back on you.
Okay.
All the years of experience, obviously you pulled me out of 2 fires, at least. Yeah. Is there one that sticks out for you that you were like, you know what, I am called to do this experience, was it?
Yes, I am. I'll never forget Eric's and Andrea. They're just Eric's and Andrea, with an X. They were Actually, they were refugees from Colombia.
Wow.
And so they've been in the country for about a year, a little over 2 years.
Yeah.
But they didn't have their papers yet to start working. So we had to. They didn't have 2-year work history.
Yeah.
Okay. So we were able to get them approved for a mortgage. FHA, for example, requires a 2-year history of employment. So the way that we are able to do that is we are able to contact their employers in Colombia or the previous employers to get their tax documents, have it translated. So that way with FHA, we were able to provide that 2-year history.
Yeah.
So we went out of the country to get that 2-year history. They had to sort of it took a little bit to gather that information. But then on top of that, we were able to use a IDA down payment assistance grant program, and we gave them $7,500 to help with the down payment. In addition to that, they also got a credit from the seller to cover their closing costs.
Yeah.
So these were buyers that were in the country for 2 years. They did it the right way. They got their papers. They didn't have that 2-year history that most lenders would have just said, okay, you know what, you're going to have to wait, which they didn't want to because they would have to rent again. And so we were able to provide the service and the fortitude to push forward. And they were able to also, because of the grant money and the down payment assistance, also be able to have money in the bank after closing for reserves for emergency, which you never want to have somebody buy a home and have nothing left, because right away a house is there's gonna be expenses. So that always that's one of my success stories. I always think about that because that is like a true like American dream situation.
No, absolutely. And I welcome and feel privileged that you would share that. But you're right. That's why people love this country. And that's why, like we talked about earlier, why it's important to have a really good team.
Sure.
Because only people who believe in partnership would have gone the length that you and your team did. I so appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Adam.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you for joining myself, MJ, and Adam.
Thank you.